All right, please introduce yourself, state your name and DOC number for the record.
Reginald H. Jones, 399-320.
Hi, Mr. Jones. My name is Brennan Kelsey. Along with me is Mr. Albert Roche and Mr. Pete Freeman will be your panel. Explain the process to you, read some information to the record, have a parole interview, ask you some questions. You can respond. At the end, you can make a statement. We'll take a vote. You understand the process?
Yes, sir.
Right. Reginald Jones, DOC number 399-320. Third class offender, parole eligibility date 2/19/2023, good time 2/25/2037, full term 2/20/2038, 20-year sentence, obstruction of justice. Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
And you have some guests here today. I'll just read them all. Lillian Williams, Faye Thomas Bertrand, Michael Johnson, Albert Tarun, Tony Nicholson, Barbara Wilson Chapman, Ricky Nelson Jones, Sandra Delcor, Clarence Delcor, Randolph Chapman, Lisa Weiler, and Freddy Davis. And we'll have Mr. Davis, Mr. Jones, and Ms. Chapman all speak at the appropriate time. All right, would you please answer Mr. Freeman's questions, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Jones, how old are you?
I'm 57, sir.
Okay, and how long you been in jail on this charge?
Since April the 2nd, 2018.
Okay, so that's 5 years. Well, I had 7 years now. You were arrested on 9/12/16. You bonded out?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, that's where my description comes in. Okay, what's your educational level?
I've got about 8 years of college. I got 3 at LSU. I got 3 summers at SUNO. I went to Moelis Beauty College, and I was in Delgado for a fire technology degree.
Oh, all right. You're charged with obstruction of justice. Tell me what happened. I see there was nothing physical. I mean, what went on with you and Mr. Jones, Mr. Lewis Jones?
Okay.
First off, y'all kin?
No, sir. He's a neighbor that stays 2 houses behind my mother. And he's known me my whole life. And we had an argument of the morning of the 12th and the 16th, and he said that he had something from my big ASS, and he ran to his house. I went inside of my home. I saw my grandson's water pistol, and I went back in front of his door and said, "You're not the only one got something." And I went home. That happened about 8:30 in the morning. And about 5 o'clock, his wife came home and called the police and said that I pulled a weapon out on him.
Okay, what about the pistol? You said it was a water pistol?
It was a water pistol. I've been knowing Mr. Lewis my whole life. I couldn't draw a weapon. No, not at all.
Okay. Had y'all had problems before?
No, we hadn't had problems before. You know, I apologize. We apologize to one another. And I mean, we've been fine since then.
I see you been back and forth to the hospital. You've been having any health problems?
Well, I have a COPD, I have asthma, I have AFib, and I'm also diabetic. And I had an infection in February, so I spent maybe 8 or 9 weeks in and out of UMC and in the infirmary over here.
You can still take care of yourself?
Oh, yeah, yes, sir. I mean, to the best of my ability. I was in a wheelchair and I've switched to a cane, but I mean, I just have to take my time. Sometimes I have to take a break. I can't walk long distances. So, you know, and I have asthma. I take breathing treatments as needed up to 4 times a day.
Okay. Looking at your supervision history, you were placed on supervision for vehicular homicide and ended up letting you plead guilty to negligent homicide. You was placed on 4 years probation and it was terminated unsat because you had some technical violations. What happened with those events? Were you drinking and driving or what?
No, yes, I had a couple of drinks and I got behind the wheel, which was a bad mistake on my part. And a guy walked in front of my vehicle and I hit him. But I didn't know that I hit someone because beer splattered all over my truck. And later on, once I found out, I turned myself in at the firehouse. I was a fireman.
Okay. What other job you had when you were on the outside before you got arrested? Were you working?
This time, no, I started receiving disability in 2014, but I can do part-time work. And if I was to make parole, I have a job offer at the Salvation Army on South Claiborne with Executive Chef Mr. David Bowie. He offered me a job where I can volunteer, and if I get the skills that he is looking for, he'll hire me part-time.
I see you had another period of probation and it was revoked due to technical violations.
Mhm.
It was a drug charge. Do you have a drug problem?
No, sir.
How long, what kind of drugs have you used in the past?
Marijuana.
I see you also stated you had that negligent homicide. Do you have an alcohol problem?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you taken any classes while you've been in there?
Yes, sir. I'm also a facilitator. I've taken Celebrate Recovery. I'm a facilitator for Celebrate Recovery. I took Narcotics Anonymous, Alcohol Anonymous. I took Cage Your Rage. I took Nurturing and Parenting, Living in Balance.
I see all of those. Which one of those classes you got the most out of?
Each one of them gave me certain aspects that I enjoyed learning while I was in it. Cage Your Rage, how I have to, with Cage Your Rage, you can't react on your anger. Sometimes you just have to lay there and let it play itself out. And I've had certain situations. And since I've taken the classes, since I've been incarcerated, I feel that each and every one of them helped me to better myself, make me a better person.
Okay. All of law enforcement has no comment, and your offense does not have a victim as you were charged with obstruction of justice. You have 3 kids?
Yes, I have 2 kids I raised with my fiance since they was 8 and 9, and they're 34 and 35 right now. One is in the military, and I have another one that's living in New Orleans, and I have a son that's in Dallas.
Okay. So you have contact with all of your children?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, well, I like the way you say that. Sound excited about your kid.
Oh, they love me to death. They accepted me as their father because I helped their mother raise them, my 2 oldest ones, and my son is in Dallas.
Okay. What's gonna be your transition plan? Where you gonna live? What you got? Well, I know you're on disability, so where are you gonna live?
I'm gonna live with my fiance at 2549 Elder Street in Gentilly in New Orleans.
Okay, how long has she been your fiance?
Oh, wow. We've been engaged maybe 7 years. We've been together since 1997.
So y'all were together before you got in prison?
Yes, sir.
Is that the same woman that you raised those kids with?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great, great, great. Okay, you only have 4 disciplinary write-ups. Let's see what they were for. One of them was in 2020. You had a fight. What was that about?
Me and a guy, he had a bad day going, and he passed word. We passed words with each other, and on the way outside, he came up to me, and I told him, "Man, go ahead. I'm not about no trouble. You know, I'm a sick man." And he kind of pushed me, and one thing led to another. It was maybe 1 or 2 licks passed. I really tried to hold him because I'm a fairly big guy. I'm 6'5", 315 pounds. I'm not trying to hurt nobody. And God knows I don't want to hit nobody and they fall and get worse or hit their head and don't wake up.
Okay, and then you had one aggravated work issue. What was that about?
Oh, could you give me the date on that? Oh, I know what you're talking about. I think it was February the 14th. I had the flu. I had the flu and I didn't get out the bed for CLN. That's where you come out the dome and you sit in front of the cable learning network. And Sergeant Brown had to write me up because the lieutenant did his rounds and told him. And when I told him that I had the flu, I appealed it. And the warden said by me, Warden Booty said by me not going to the infirmary, you self-medicated. That didn't give me a chance to show him that I had the flu by not going to the infirmary.
Okay. I see you a member of Pride, Pillars. What's Pillars?
Pillars, that's a manhood group, and that's iron sharpen iron. We're personally investing life learning attributes regarding society. I'm a mentor for the young offenders. I'm trying to let them see that they just made a bad decision. They're not a bad person. I try to mentor to them, let them know no matter how much time you got, try to get into VOTEC. If you don't have your high school diploma, try to get your high set. If you have 5 or 6 years, then you have a chance to get carpentry, small engines, auto body and fender. You got a chance to leave this place better than what you came. I just try to help the little guys that I see that's focused, that's not doing the wrong things on the compound, that's trying to better themselves. And we are following Dr. Miles Monroe curriculum. That's a book he wrote to help the younger generation.
Okay. You're also a member of the JCs, I see.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Warden, what do you have to say about Mr. Jones?
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Freeman. I got a good bit to say about Reginald. He is a Pride member. He's actually in one of our honor dorms too. Dorm J. He's done well enough to move into that. He talked about the Pillars. That's actually a group that was started years ago with me. It's a really good program teaching men to be men. He kind of explained it very well. It's like teaching respect and things like that. And he is one of the mentors that helps us out tremendously on that. And we also have a little garden that they able to maintain on the compound and stuff. He helps us with that. He's like the write-up history is good. He stays out of trouble. He's always been respectful. Reginald's been a good one. There's a couple of questions I'm gonna ask him later. I didn't know he went to beauty college. I'm gonna find out why he didn't a barber in my institution. He mentioned something about beauty college a while ago. And then looks like that write-up he got was on Valentine's Day. So I don't know if it was the flu or he just wanted to lay up on Valentine's Day, but we're gonna check in all that. But he's done well. He's done well.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I have no further question.
All right, we'll have pastor speak, Pastor Freddy. Okay, so I could make a statement up there. Make a brief statement there.
I'm Pastor Freddy L. Davis, University of Houston, Texas. Reginald and I were best friends in 1982. And together we made a lot of mistakes as young men. The good news is transformation has happened. I know it's hard better than anybody. Prior to his arrest, we had a program called Stand Up and Man Up that would help mentor young men. Had a program that was called Word of Fresh. He was Deacon Jones. We make a joke, Deacon Jones, football player. He was Deacon Jones on our online. So he was in the process of doing some great things. And so for me, when we joined teams together, his regret and his remorse based on a bad choice, I see God as transforming the thought and life and spirit. So then I'm confident that us joining teams together based on our past, we can do a lot of work to help curtail. But sometimes our lives is what you experience is to give back, to sow seed when you make mistakes. And so I'm just so confident I hear his voice and we pray together, we share together scripture. And I know that God has transformed my life. It's a running joke for people who say, Freddy is the pastor right now, but God is real. The same impact that he had on my life, he had the same on my friend's life. we were together. I used to pick him up at school every morning. So when I know it's hard, I know the interior of it's hard. Unfortunately, we live in a society, sometimes you become a part of your environment if you don't separate yourself. So we've always talked about coming out to give back. And so when I talked to him a couple of months ago, and we prayed over the phone, my daughter calls him Uncle Reggie Reg. He's a corporate defense attorney. So now that he have his kids that he raised, and my kids look forward to him coming home to see Uncle Reg because we grew up together. That's their uncle. It's not my biological brother, but that's my son, Freddy, gave support, and my daughter, Barry. That's their uncle. And so when I look at how God restores and transforms and the whole transformation process, I see it in my friend. I see God, I hear God. And my deepest prayer is he's not a God of a second chance, he's God of another chance. And so another chance to get it right, another chance. I hear his voice, I hear it, I know it. And basically, I look at myself and I see the handiwork of God. I see what God has done. And so it's important that when God brings you out, you got to give back to create a platform. If you don't give back, you end up back where you was at. So that's our theme. And so stand up and man up makes Reg and I responsible with one young man in the neighborhood. And it's as simple as this. Spending time, we go into a Tulane game, or to a Saints game, or to the moves of cutting our grass. And Reg is a chef, he can cook. So spend time, having these kids spend time and see someone else that's been through it, that you can sow seed into. It not only helps us, but it helps our community because we got to start somewhere. And if each one has to reach one. And so our program is really, really strong. It's cost effective. It don't cost a lot of money. You don't have to have a GoFundMe or raise money for it. It's just us spending time with young men in the neighborhood that don't have a father figure. And so that's my mission. That's my prayer. And I believe with everything in me that God has totally transformed, refreshed, renewed, and has revived Reginald Jones. And I need to be my deacon.
All right.
I need somebody that's been with me because they understand our story. And so, you see my glory, but people don't know the story. So I can share my testimony because without a testimony, without a test, you can never have a testimony.
Right.
And so God allows us to be tested sometimes. And so I think, and I know that his experience, even in being incarcerated in the penal system, is going to be a huge impact to stop somebody's child from going that same route.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. I know we're here from, let's see, here's his attorney, Mr. Nelson Jones, Mr. Jones. Ricky Nelson Jones.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you very much for this time. My brother, Dr. Ricky Nelson Jones, I'm his attorney, but I'm also his biological brother. But one of the things that I've been talking to him about for a few years is not allowing anything to come into your body that will compromise you physically or mentally. Drink, smoke, the cannabis, the whole 9 yards. So when I looked at the fact that he's taking classes of substance abuse and Alcoholics Anonymous, I feel like he's listening. Also, he took a class on cage and rage. We live in a country of laws, which is what I said to him over and over. And civility must be a quality of every mature man. And if you ever feel like you're losing control, you must walk away. Said to him 1,000 times, if Black men had simply walked away, we couldn't count the number of them who would still be alive and not in prison. And finally, he took a class, master class about godly living. Even though I'm a pastor, an attorney, I'm also a pastor. Been practicing law approaching 35 years, mainly representing church people. 99% of my clients come from the church. But when I found when he took that class, I felt again that he was listening because I've been emphasizing to him, you must change your life, your associations, and when you get out of prison, and God bless you to get out of prison, I expect you to join the church I pastor, living exactly like Jesus Baptist Church, the same day he gets out, and be online because you must learn God's way to live. That's the only solution to this. And because he took this master class, he's listening. The principal problem with a lot of these young men, and I've gone to prison as an attorney, you can't tell them anything. They hear like this tape. But Reginald has proven to me based on the class he's taken that he's finally listening, and I believe he's ready for freedom, Jim. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. All right, Miss Barbara Wilson Chapman, would you like to?
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you for family and friends that come to support me. I'm overwhelmed. Everything that I plan to say, these gentlemen, these pastors have already said it. But I want to let you know where Reginald comes from. Our grandparents, Scotch, Farmers Price, laid foundation for our lives, taught their children, and then their children taught us. We're the grandchildren. We're from country. His mother was the youngest of the children, of the sisters. And she taught her children about Christ. She laid the foundation for him. But they also told us that when we become adults, we make our own decisions. Okay. So when Reggie became an adult, he made that decision. But what he forgot to remember was that they also taught us that if you made a decision, then you face consequences of those decisions. Okay. So Reginald took a different path. He's a fun-loving person. We love him. He's hilarious. I told him he missed his calling because he should have been a comedian. Those that really know him, he is the comedian of the family. He's a jokester. It's fun-loving, okay? And sometimes when you're that type of person, you're easily persuaded by your surroundings. You want to be a part of the impact. And that's not good all the time. So he has faced, I know for a fact, and even listening to him now, he has faced those consequences, and he's to the point that he has changed his life. Sometimes God puts you in a place where he needs to sit you down so that you can listen. And that's what he's done. We have to be still, we have to listen to the voice of God. He has taken classes to put him in the frame of mind that when he comes out, he's going to be a productive Christian citizen. He's going to be able to not only continue to help himself, he's going to help other young men, other young women that are traveling in the path that he has gone. And he doesn't want them to go on that road anymore. So it has been a blessing for me just to sit here and listen to all the classes he's taken. I'm not going to go because you were already integrated back. All I want to say is that I know he has changed. And I know from listening to him, you know that he has changed. I want you to give him the opportunity to prove it. I want you to give him the opportunity to work with Pastor Freddy, to work with these other people that's in that arena where he was and is no longer. If you can stop a person from going down that road, that is going to make our society a better place to live. I want you to just think about his family, his friends. I've come because not only for myself, I've come for him, I've come for my family, I've come for his friends. We want him back. We want him back the way he was when he was younger, before he hit that trail.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank God he's off of that trail.
Yes, ma'am.
I know it for a fact. And I just want to thank you and ask you that you would have mercy and pardon him so he can again resume his life and get back to reality, what I call true reality.
Yes.
And I just want to thank you all so much for listening.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your comments. Appreciate you. All right, Reginald, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
I just would like to thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to come before y'all today. And I would like to apologize to my family, my friends, and Mr. Lewis Jones and Mr. Reginald Jones for what I did that day. And just want to thank y'all for letting me come in front of y'all today.
All right, thank you. Is Pound prepared to vote?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Reginald, you've done a good job. The warden has made, great comments about you. I could tell the pride in your voice, especially when you're talking about your kids. I do think you may have a drinking problem. So my vote today is gonna be to grant your parole with the condition that you attend 3 AA meetings a week and get an evaluation or substance abuse evaluation and follow any recommended treatment.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Roche.
Thank you, Mr. Kelsey. Mr. Jones, I see why they called you Deacon Jones. At 6'6", 315, I remember Deacon when he played for the Rams. He was about that size. Mr. Jones, you've done well. And I'm going to vote to grant your release.
Thank you, sir.
And I will add some conditions. Besides attending at least 3 NAA meetings, I want you to do 4 hours of community service with at-risk youth.
Yes, sir.
Talk to the young people. Tell them about your experience and try to lead them in the right direction.
Yes,
Good
sir.
luck.
Thank you, sir.
All right, you have 2 votes to grant your parole. Also, I'm going to vote to grant your parole today for the same reasons as stated. You've done the work, you put the time in. It's time for you to go out now and, continue to improve yourself and help somebody. You'll have 4 hours of community service for at-risk youth, and you have 3 NAA meetings per week. You understand stipulation?
Yes, sir.
And you'll also have a curfew from 10 p to 6 a unless you're at church or you're working, and you'll give your parole officer on that. So 3 votes to grant, your parole's been granted. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sirs.